Welcome and good morning. I hope everybody has some coffee and they are ready to wake up and be awesome. This is Girls Guide to Business, and Girls Guide to Business is a program of InnovateHER KC. My name is Lauren Conaway. I am founder and CEO of InnovateHER KC. And if you don't already know what we do, we are a 4,000 plus member women's leadership community. We actually just hit 4,000 members last week, and we are super psyched about it. So we serve women in the verticals of entrepreneurship, community advocacy, civic engagement, education, the arts, nonprofit leadership. Yeah, Robin, I see that. Awesome, 4,000. We're so psyched. But so we serve women leaders in a lot of different areas. We always do so with a lens to not just diversity, but true inclusion and belonging. And we have what we call our 6 pillars. So we serve our members through social connection, professional development, which is what we're doing right now. We also focus on amplifying the work of our members, championing them to the outside community. We talk a lot about mentorship, and we share resources to support women leaders and elevate them, champion them, make sure that we are helping them as much as we can. So that's about us. And now we're going to talk about you and what we're going to be experiencing here. And I do want to, I owe some folks a huge thank you. So this Girls Guide to Business is the brainchild of an incredible organization called the DeBruce Foundation. And they're going to tell you more about what they do, but they do some incredibly impactful work in the areas of career readiness, workforce development, really helping to make economic opportunity accessible and equitable for all. And so they do a lot of really fantastic work. We have loved working with them as we've been putting together this program. And we're going to talk to them, and they're going to talk to you about your agility. So I'm going to introduce Cheyenne Squire, who is an amazing individual. She is going to have a lot of really awesome stuff to say. And I am just super, super looking forward to this Girls Guide to Business session. It's going to be great. And thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for the introduction, Lauren. And it's such an honor to be on InnovateHER's Girls Guide to Business today and be sharing about what we're working on. And I'm actually going to pull up our slide so that everyone can see. Everyone can see this?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So good morning, everyone. And thanks so much for joining us today. We're so excited to be sharing with you about how we're expanding pathways to economic growth and opportunity. Like Lauren said, my name is Cheyenne Squire, and I'm a fellow with the DeBruce Foundation. So I basically serve as a catalyst for our career decision-making tools and initiatives across all departments. I'm going to be co-facilitating our presentation today with Natalie Zimmerman. Natalie is a graduate of the Walton College of Business at the University of Arkansas with a degree in international business. She actually spent a year teaching English in Madrid, Spain, and has returned to work with us as an independent research consultant for the foundation. So before we get started and before I let Natalie kind of introduce herself and take over, we would love to hear more about you. So would you just very briefly just drop in the chat your name, maybe your background, and why you decided to register for this session?
Yes, so we have Tara Myers, Coldwell Banker. Hi, Tara, welcome. Amicia, I hope I said that name right. A vocational counselor and freelance writer. Oh, very cool.
Awesome.
Courtney, Candy, hi, Brooke. Hello, everybody. They're gonna get too much before I can say hi to everybody, but hello, everybody. Welcome. So I'm Natalie, as Cheyenne said, and before we jump into this presentation, I just think it's really important we call out the current world climate we're living in, because I know it's really impacted all of us in a really big way. So during this past year, the combined effects of the pandemic, social and political unrest, and just life in general kind of being turned upside down have resulted in a lot of uncertainty and just a lot of change in this workplace. So it's really becoming more important than ever that we become confident in our unique skills and assets and really the value that we bring to the workplace and the world in general.
Awesome. So a few highlights of our discussion today will include background information about the DeBruce Foundation's mission and initiatives, defining and discovering our agilities, and understanding how agilities can be used to develop our careers and leadership skills. Please keep in mind that the slide deck is going to be emailed to you at the conclusion of the session today for your reference. So if you see something and we accidentally move on from it, you're going to be able to look back on this information.
So the DeBruce Foundation was started by Paul DeBruce, who wanted a way to really make an impact in the world and kind of help his community and give back. So he assembled a team of experts to come up with the best strategies to make this impact. And through that work, our mission was established and refined into what it is today. And we really focus on expanding pathways to economic growth and opportunities.
Yeah, so our initiatives span across a wide range of innovative tools and resources that are changing the way that people pursue entrepreneurship and leadership. The Agile Work Profiler, which is what we're mainly going to be focusing on today, is our free tool that translates your abilities and interests into a ranked set of 10 agilities, which we'll talk about more in a moment. The purpose of the Agile Work Profiler is to help you expand your knowledge of opportunities that are a good fit for you and help you navigate the industry marketplace with more skill. The Career Explorer tools are like a companion to the Agile Work Profiler. So these tools are going to help you develop your pathway by familiarizing you with the 10 agilities, understanding the agilities needed for different jobs, and discovering which opportunities are in high demand locally. So the intention of the Career Explorer tools is to expand your industry knowledge. And then lastly, we have here the Agile XP, which is this little picture of a phone here on the side. Agile XP is an online learning experience that takes you from discovering your agilities and exploring the market to being an informed career decision maker. So Agile XP is like that next level step that aspires to do just like what we've said, but by empowering individuals to overcome challenges, respond proactively to restructuring in traditional employment sectors, and make progress with achieving career goals. So again, Agile XP is going to be an experience that's helping you further explore skills and plan for success.
So the DeBruce Career Corps is a group of high school and college students who actually meet weekly to provide their insight, views, and knowledge, feedback on the programs and initiatives that we develop that actually target that age group. So for DeBruce, getting the honest feedback of the people we serve is really important. And high schoolers and college kids often don't get their input on the things that are developed for them. So this is a really unique way that we really focus on that demographic. So the Draw Your Future with Agilities is a really fun and interactive goal setting tool that the DeBruce Foundation created with Patty Dobrowolski above your creative genius. So during this experience, participants are led through a visualization and drawing process of your present and desired future. And we focus on how you can use your agilities to turn your desired future into your reality. And V-Ships, which stands for virtual internships, came from the need to pivot into the online workspace created by the pandemic. So we started V-Ships initiative to provide curated resources and original case studies, convene virtual conversations to share best practices and valuable insights for both employees and employers interested in virtual opportunities. So it's a really good resource for both the employer side and the employee side to really connect each other through the virtual environment. So we've kind of alluded to the agilities, but we really haven't talked extensively about them. So we're going to watch a fun video that really talks about what they are and how you can use them. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex.
I'm Monica Lugos. I'm Mia Gonzalez.
I am Miles Tracy.
Hello, nice to meet you. What is the Agile Work Profiler?
The Agile Work Profiler is an online assessment that an individual can take in 10 minutes or less, and it's free by going to DeBruce.org or Agilities.org, and you answer a set of questions about what you do well and what you like to do, and in the end, you are actually given your list of agilities.
I think this tool is fantastic in that it kind of exposes people to careers and jobs that are kind of outside of their landscape.
So what even is an agility?
An agility is a combination of your interest and what you do well and how those line up with work activities.
When you found your agilities, what did it tell you? Were you surprised?
So I wasn't too surprised by my agilities. I definitely would say that like managing, I understand it, but I definitely was not surprised but like interested in that.
But I like it because it makes you stop and have to take like an internal look at what am I good at? I've never taken a test like that before, and the results just showed the quality of the test because it's exactly what I'm doing every day.
So I think that's some real valuable stuff, because knowing who you are before you step in a room elevates you.
How does knowing your agilities at this point possibly position your future?
It's really focused on what do you love to do and what do you do extremely well in the space of work activities. Again, those things that are used in every single career in the economy.
Being a person that's not in a job yet, I just think that's a really key piece of information that every young person should have, whether they're going into college or going into the workforce.
So if I would have taken this agility beforehand, maybe I would have started in the development career earlier if I knew that was an option.
The more we can do that, the more people will wake up every day like I do, passionate about what I do.
And as a leader in that space, I can really try to develop them and continue to amplify each of their agilities, but really leverage that for making a difference around DeBruce's mission statement, which is to expand pathways to economic growth and opportunity.
Awesome. Okay. So now that you know what agilities are, we are going to put you into breakout rooms and have you take the Agile Work Profiler to discover your agilities for yourself. So once you've completed the test, we would like you to just write down your top 3 agilities and check out the Career Explorer tools that we talked about earlier if time allows. So we're going to actually drop in the chat the link. It's agilities.org, and have you take the assessment. After about 10 minutes, we're going to come back to the main room to discuss your initial thoughts and how your agilities might connect to your experience in the workplace setting. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes.
All right, and we should have everybody coming back now. I am going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to shut off the music, which I'm not going to lie, makes me a little sad. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Cheyenne and Natalie. And we are going to talk about things like results and how we felt about the agilities assessment. But Cheyenne, Natalie, if you want to take it away, my friends, thank you so much for sticking with us and taking that assessment, y'all. That was awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lauren. So for our next part, like what she was saying, we're going to do a really quick poll. So if you can see at the top of the screen here, and we can also drop in the chat, it's www.menti.com. You're just going to type in this code here, and when you log in, it should tell you these agilities that you just saw come up. And what we would like for you to do is to just go ahead and mark your top 3 agilities and submit your results. They should come in real time. And if for whatever reason you're having issues with it, then you can just drop it in the chat.
Oh, we have a lot of innovating and developing others. I love that.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, it looks like the majority of our group is, innovators and developing others. And, we have a couple that are with organizing and selling, communicating, and managing. And it's interesting that no one had judging and estimating, at least no one that filled this out. So yeah, some really cool trends that hopefully we can give back to Lauren at the end of this to inform future thoughts about things.
Yeah, I mean, this actually helps me in our Innovate Her KC work. And I have to tell you that I am very, I guess, validated in seeing all of the innovating, because innovating naturally fits with innovators, right? All right, I'm gonna quit being a dork and I'm gonna let y'all do your thing.
No, that's pretty much, you know, what what we wanted. So yeah, I'll just let you continue, Natalie, with the discussion. Awesome. So these are the 10 agilities that you've probably received one of these as your results, or three of them, or however many. And basically, 10 agilities are just unique and key traits that can be recognized in any workplace setting. So, for example, my top three agilities are going to be innovating, serving and caring, developing others. So when I first received my responses, I could see clearly in my personal and professional life that these were my strengths. Most of my roles have required me to develop new ideas and provide creative solutions to solve problems. I've worked mostly in the youth development space across my interests, which has given me the opportunity to serve as a mentor and teacher for young people. Both inside and outside of work, I've been really involved with philanthropy and community service over the years, which point to my passion for helping people and exercising empathy for those who are in need. So that's just a few examples of how my agilities have translated into my personal and professional life. And I hope that this gets you thinking about the ways in which yours might be recognizable in your pathway as well. I know that some people in the group said that they felt like it was spot on. Some of them were like, eh. So what we can do is actually drop in the chat just this one pager that we have that kind of breaks down each one that you can reference throughout the rest of our session and our conversation.
Okay, perfect. So we like to refer to these 10 agilities as the DNA of jobs. We developed them in the AWP after analyzing the US Bureau of Labor Statistics data on over 1,000 jobs. And it turns out all jobs have the same 10 work activities. And so DeBruce kind of took all of those activities and coined them as agilities. And these are very different than other job assessments or personality assessments that you might be used to, because all of the agilities can actually be learned, improved, and cultivated. So they're definitely not static throughout your life, and they can like change as you learn more skills and your interests change. So your agilities right now are really just the accumulation of what you actually like doing best and what you're good at doing. So I'm really good at serving and caring, and I really love doing it. So that's one of my top agilities right now. But if I take up another inspecting job, or I really learn to enjoy inspecting, I can definitely cultivate that as well. So the agility advantage is the outcome of mastering skills, the growth mindset, and market knowledge. And if you can master all of these, you can be a more flexible, fulfilled, and focused career decision maker. If you have all of them, you're a lot more agile in what you can do moving forward in the workforce.
So now we're going to do a fun exercise with the agilities to help you make the connection between these competencies and the real world. In a few minutes, we're just going to jump into a breakout session where you'll be able to select a scenario that looks like this one here on the left. And your objective is to just see how the different agilities can be used to solve this scenario. So to provide you with an example, I've selected this real world scenario. You're pulling together a team to sell your new product. As you can see, I've gone through the different agilities and thought of ways in which each agility can be used to contribute to solving the scenario. So if this were a real life situation and I was a part of the scenario, I would think of creative ideas on how we could best sell the product, contact our target market and empathetically listen to their needs, and design activities that would help our team understand their skills. And that's because my top agilities, like I said, are innovating, serving and caring, developing others, and that these are the ways in which I could best contribute to our efforts in this scenario. So like Natalie said, it's important to note that agilities, you may be strong in these specific areas, but if there's one in particular that you would want to grow in, you totally can do that. And so for this activity, there's really no wrong answers. We just would ask your group to select an example scenario. Then we ask each person in the group to make one connection between their top agility and the scenario that their group chose. And those scenarios are going to be here.
So when we go into our breakout groups, I want to discuss the question, how might agilities connect to the real world? So Cheyenne just talked through one example, so you can kind of see how you can apply each one of those agilities to a specific scenario. And so you can either talk about scenarios in your own life, or we gave you a couple example scenarios in case you need some creative juices flowing or want the easy way out. So here are just a few examples, like you're interviewing for a job in a field you know very little about. So how would you use your top agility or just any of the agilities to really help you through this scenario or problem? So we'll give you 5 minutes in your breakout groups. You'll have about 5 people, so feel free to network and just talk and get to know each other and how your agilities can help you.
Well, so welcome back from your breakout rooms, and I'm once again going to turn it over to Natalie and Cheyenne. But thanks so much for sticking with us. I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this. Cheyenne, Natalie, if you want to take it away.
Okay, so we're not going to use a polling platform this time because I'm going to hurt somebody if we do. So feel free to just answer this question directly in the chat that you're going to see on the screen. So what was one connection you or your group made between the agilities and the real world scenario?
I am really, really interested to see some of the answers that come out of this.
And you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself if you want to and share it with the group if you feel comfortable. So either way.
Does anybody want to share?
Well,
Jessica? Yeah.
I'm always half glass full. And so we took the situation of going to a new country and, wanting to give back and be innovative there. And I realized that none of my skill sets were necessarily the best for that scenario. And, that was just kind of provoking for me to realize that just because I see my 3 agilities as positives because they're mine and I own them and I love them, otherwise I wouldn't breathe more into it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's of value to every situation or the best value for every situation. And just to kind of be more mindful of maybe toning those down if it's not called for in that situation.
Very interesting. Yeah. Well, and it's also what I really like about the agilities is that you can learn and grow every single one of them, so you can use all of your agilities how you use them, like right now for like the best of your abilities, like you were talking about. I love my agilities, but I am also horrible at judging and estimating. Like it's probably one of my worst agilities. And kind of learning how to lean into that and grow them and then work together with people who are really good at judging and estimating when that's an important part of the job, I think is a really cool part of the agilities.
Agreed.
Okay, perfect. Let's see what else we have. Does anyone else want to say it out loud or should I read one from the group? No? Okay. Tara said we started a nonprofit. We talked about technology, government regulations, marketing, community outreach, and how our unique agilities can bring value and insight in the situation. Love that. Robin, importance of selling and communicating when creating a new nonprofit and persuading others to see the need. That's a really fun take on it. Thanks. Okay, so moving on. Cheyenne.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks so much for participating in the activity. And now we're just going to touch on how your agilities can be used as a tool to enhance career development. So we at the DeBruce Foundation, the DeBruce Foundation have built resources to help individuals progress on their career path. And by introducing this agility language into a person's vocabulary, we're providing the keywords and phrases that are going to help you express your career strengths and interests with more confidence. So we found this to be most impactful with interviewing and resume writing. A lot of people struggle to share with employers the full scope of their work competencies, how to actually say exactly what they're good at. And the agility language helps provide opportunity seekers with the ability to just discuss their natural strengths. And supporting documents like this, use your agilities to create your resume document here, are available at our website at the resources section. That's where you can find these types of things to help use what you've learned about the agilities today towards your career. So we have some surprising statistics here that I'm just going to briefly go over. And InnovateHER's 2020 Impact Report actually disclosed that 38% of their members don't pursue desired positions of leadership because they feel unqualified. And I don't know how many people in this group were a part of that 38%, but the DeBruce Foundation just wanted to remind you that you are of great value. Each one of you has a story, a lifetime of experiences, and a set of skills that are totally unique to you. And the world has taken a huge hit in the last year, with women being one of the groups that was significantly impacted. So what we hope to submit to you today is that while you may not be qualified to hold a leadership position, you can still apply. A stunning report from the Harvard Business Review stated that men apply for a job when they meet only 60% of the qualifications, but women apply only if they meet 100% of them. So whether it's a job, an entrepreneurial endeavor, a college degree, or just a special opportunity, we want to encourage you to go for it, even if you don't meet the qualifications. There are actually valid reasons why we as women often don't pursue our career goals in a similar way that men do. Did you know that we as women actually remember failure longer than men? That same report from Harvard Business Review wrote that women may be wise to be more concerned with potential failure, and that there's some evidence that women's failures are actually remembered longer than men's. But that kind of bias may lead us to become too afraid of failure, avoiding it more often than is needed, and in ways that don't actually serve our career goals. And in addition to this sort of biological memory block, women often face what's called an agency paradox. And this is coming from the American Psychological Association, that additional challenges follow from gender stereotypes being prescriptive as well as descriptive. People thus prefer that women be nice and kind and not overtly tough or dominating. These prescriptions present an agency paradox to aspiring women because, on one hand, women considered as a general social category are thought to lack the agency required to be an effective leader. On the other hand, a woman's strong display of agency often brings disapproval. So, as you can see, there are many pain points and hard truths as to why women don't pursue leadership roles. And what we'd like for you to take away from this session is that discovering your agilities and using them to navigate your career life will help you understand your immense value and boost your confidence in making career decisions. You're on mute.
Got it. So we're going to go back into our breakout groups to talk about what agilities you are leaning into the most right now. So these do not have to be your top agilities. Mine is definitely not my top agility. So for example, I really pre-pandemic relied a lot on my outside social obligations, a lot of the commuting, and just kind of more structure around life, what life used to be, to really hold my schedule in place and get all of my stuff done. But now with the pandemic, I've really had to lean into organizing because I don't have the structure I used to. So organizing is not my top agility, but I'm really having to lean into it. So you can use your top agility if you're lucky enough to be leaning into your top agility right now, or you can pick one that you are not so strong in, and just kind of talk about why you use it and how you're leaning into it right now. So you'll have another about 5 minutes to talk about this as well.
Welcome back. And what were some of your conversations? Tell us about, which agilities you're leaning into right now.
And I've definitely explained this before at events, but I will call on people. Oh, I'll do it. That's a threat.
You can also put it in the chat if you feel more comfortable typing it out.
I don't mind flapping some lips, but I had a great group and we all were talking about that specific piece of innovation and leaning into, I think, kind of that umbrella to the rest. It felt like for all of us that when you innovate that piece in yourself and your projects, right, that it kind of sprinkled around. So it's really cool to hear everybody talk about the different phases they were in their life and the changes that the pandemic brought and seeing where they were innovating from that. It was great 5 minutes.
That's super cool.
Awesome.
Love that.
Okay. And Amy said, our group talked about leaning into innovating, serving and caring, organizing and developing others. Very good.
So can I introduce like a really, like just a perspective for consideration? So we're a group of, women, mostly, I think all women or people who identify, as women. And so one of the things is like, I wonder if our agilities are also kind of closely tied to our gender identity and expression. Because like, for instance, serving and caring is one that seems to keep coming up. And it's like, do you see higher incidences of that agility in women than you do in men?
It's a great question. I feel like that's something that we would have to test out. I don't know if Natalie, have we ever done it with a group of just men?
I don't think we have. Robin, do you know? Robin is also at the foundation.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome for throwing more work on your plate, if not.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And we have looked at it a little bit, and over 20,000 people have taken the profiler at this point. And so we're starting to have some ability to see some of those kind of differences. But you're right. The serving and caring oftentimes, if nothing else, women identify more with it and claim it. It seems a little more readily than men, because often we see ourselves as caretakers in different parts. So it's definitely a great insight, and it's something that we'll hear at different points when people are talking about their agilities.
Well, and so show of hands, like in the working environment, how many of you have naturally taken on the role of caregiver? So like, I know that I've worked in a lot of male dominated environments, and I was always the one who made the coffee and cleaned the kitchen and got the birthday card for everybody to sign, like that kind of stuff. Does everybody kind of feel that is, that's one of the roles that they pick up? Yeah, I'm looking at Crate, like we got some hands raised for sure. Brenda's like, hell no.
I just like to
Which
say,
is awesome too.
I would just like to say, from the 1970s, every decade being in the workforce, I only had that role once. And it was because my director said, well, you go get the Cokes for everybody for this meeting or you're fired.
Gross.
So I did it that once, but after that, I never took it on as my responsibility. I did not accept it, and I did not suffer for not accepting it. I think it's setting boundaries for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and thank you.
Now too, it's a generational thing too, right? So I wish we had a test like this or a agility thing where we were able to do this, from years ago. Because I'm starting to see a shift with women and men as well, where a lot of men are becoming really great caregivers. For instance, like even though my husband is very predominantly leading the charge at home, he's actually better with the kids than I am because I'm a little impatient and He says I yell a lot, but if they listened to me and was obedient, I wouldn't have to yell. But I've noticed too at work with the men, as crazy it is, they consider me as a matriarch. And I kind of find it offensive when you call me a matriarch because I'm in my 30s. And that sounds like, I'm like, okay, hold up. I'm already struggling right now. Like, am I getting old? Because my knees did hurt really bad and my ankle swelled up during the snow. I remember my mom telling me about that, about the weather situation. So I struggle about it. But then there's like chivalry is not dead because the men do take care of me. And they're like, no, you shouldn't lift that. But then I have another two management men that are about my same age who don't do anything like that. They don't open the door for me. They're like, equality, right? And I'm like, funny, not funny. But it's kind of like that where I'm like, I kind of want you to help me lift it, but then I also want you to treat me like this, like strong, independent woman. So like I have a struggle with that as well. So it is crazy that, you see that in different generations, because I have seen older gentlemen who are always opening the doors for me. And then I'm starting to see it like less and less with the different generations that I'm coming across as well. So I don't know if you guys are you guys seeing that as well?
Yeah. Well, and it might be interesting to like break down results by age group, by gender, by race, and kind of see like what are the commonalities. I'd be really interested to see that. So here's some more for your plate, DeBruce Foundation. You're welcome. And I do have to apologize, Natalie, Cheyenne. I know that I keep on going off book on you, but I love to have like conversations about this, and I haven't been in the breakout rooms, so I'm kind of very selfishly having some conversation around this. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to turn it back to Cheyenne and Natalie so we can get back on track.
We love it. I love hearing everyone's point of view and like how they internalize everything. Like, I think it's so interesting. So thank you guys for sharing your experiences and how you internalize everything, interpret everything, because I love it as well. So I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's honestly the point of this, is to get your feedback about what you think and help you discover what your agilities are. So if there's any part of you that is still wondering, how does knowing your agilities really make that big of a difference in your leadership? Kind of a closing thought on this is McKinsey & Company. I don't know if everyone in the group's heard of them, but they are a resource for organizations across the private, public, and social sectors to help just create change. And they're founded on just a rigorous understanding of institutional context, sector dynamics, macroeconomic environments. They've invested over $700 million in knowledge development and learning and capacity building. And they really just study markets and trends and emerging best practices across the globe. So McKinsey actually conducted interviews with over 140 leaders across sectors. And they identified a set of 5 capabilities that generate high levels of professional performance and satisfaction. So for the sake of time, we're just going to focus on only one of the core pillars, which is meaning. It represents meaning and a sense of meaning. And so McKinsey says that a sense of meaning is key to creating impact as a leader while having work-life satisfaction. And they found that people seeking to define what is meaningful can start, as one interviewee put it, by being honest with yourself about what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. Building these signature strengths into everyday activities at work makes you happier, in part by making these activities more meaningful. So our key takeaway is that knowing your agilities, your work competencies, or job-related strengths and building them into your daily life creates a sense of meaning and ultimately contributes to more positive leadership outcomes. So we hope that you would walk away with that and just take this information about your agilities and really look for ways to build it into your daily work life.
So this year, our goal is to impact 10,000 people. We really believe now more than ever, it's important to get our resources out to the public to help people who are dealing with job loss, career changes, and struggling with the uncertainty of current job markets. So if this mission speaks to you, here are some actionable steps that you can help us. And you can also share all of this information with your network and really just get this information out there. And if you know anyone that would really benefit from any more training on the tools, a lot of these tools are really easy to access individually and very easy to navigate individually. So if you know one person, they can go on and do all these tools by themselves. But if you know any educators or people in any workforce training that would really benefit from these tools, feel free to have them reach out to us and contact us. There's some other trainings and programs that we can connect them with and put them in that can really bring them into the organization so they can bring our work to people who really need it.
Awesome. So thanks so much for your time today. And as I said, you can follow us on social media at these links here. And just remember that you are of great value. So for this last segment, we're just closing out with a Q&A. Feel free to share any questions that you might have for us about any of the information we've covered or even other things in the chat. And yeah, if you have any questions, we would take those now, or any comments.
Well, and I do really quickly just want to invite all of you. I think I mentioned this in the email that we sent out, but hopefully you met some really awesome people in your breakout groups. That's one of our hopes for InnovateHER KC. So if you feel comfortable, share your LinkedIn profiles, share your email addresses, share the websites so that, you know, we can kind of keep the connectivity going after this event. Also really want to tell you that we do have a happy hour coming up where we will probably, you know, talk a little bit about agility. We talk about all kinds of stuff in our happy hours and coffees. They're always the first Tuesday of every month, but I'm just going to share a link. We would love to see you and, you know, continue the conversation and make sure that we all stay connected and supported. So now I'm going to stop talking again. And does anybody have any questions about Agilities or any insights that they want to share?
I just want to say this was so refreshing because I feel like such a failure when I've taken all of the personality tests. And I believe that this perspective builds on what you already feel is a strength and opens up the opportunity to view new strengths or new skills or agilities. So this really, I walk away from this feeling very warm and cozy and supported. And I can keep my bad personality.
Well, we really appreciate that comment, Brenda. And that's exactly what we wanted you all to walk away with. And we really appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome. It looks like we have a question. Someone was asking about internships from Katie. I just looked at your website. I'm wondering about the internship possibilities. Do you match interns with nonprofit organizations and for-profit businesses? This is a great question. I am going to pass it to Robin.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. And I'm going to put my email in the chat, and people should feel free to reach out to me. So we currently, I know what you might be referring to is if you looked at the website there, we're sponsoring a micro internship opportunity, among other internship opportunities. So I don't want to just say that, but there's the Kansas Board of Regents currently has asked us to work with them on virtual internships. These are right now for Kansas students at higher ed. So there's other opportunities as well, but this is, so in terms of size, this could be dozens and dozens and dozens of students. So it's not necessarily a limited amount of internship opportunities, but there is an effort to connect students in Kansas higher ed to Kansas businesses. And the DeBruce Foundation's role is we are supporting the opportunity providers, helping them to make it more economically feasible for them to make those internship opportunities available. And that's for for-profits and nonprofits in Kansas. But feel free to reach out to me directly and I can give you more details on that.
Well, thank you so much for the comments in the chat, and we're here. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Can we get just a big old round of applause for Cheyenne, Natalie, and Robin for this amazing presentation and opportunity to connect? Thank you so much. Yeah, any more questions? Anybody want to stick around and chat? Please do so. But this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being here with us today.